Hello, Hamilton. It's that time again. Get up, get off the couch, and start tackling your own to-do list. I'm Bob Assadourian. Welcome to another episode of Just Ask Bob. On today's episode, we're talking about soffit and fascia, and it all begins in this situation with solid wood soffit. Now, typically, older Hamilton homes, they had solid wood soffit. This was before the building science realized that you need air circulation. Now, in this specific home, they've got small little slits, 10 to 12 feet apart. Now, that's inadequate. That is nowhere near enough ventilation to allow, the heat dissipation inside the roof. See, this is really important. Dark shingles, especially on a roof, it can turn into a pressure cooker. So you want to make sure, you think of this as your nostrils. This is nostril one, letting in the air, letting in the breeze. Up on the rooftop is the other nostril with the roof vents. You have to have the air circulating. Now, the proper way to do it, now we've got aluminum soffit, which comes fully ventilated or non-ventilated. Your best and always safest choice is to remove the wood completely, and then you can install continuous ventilated aluminum soffit. Now, we'll kick off the show with an email here. We have, hello, Bob. I'm thinking of renting an aluminum brake machine to install fascia to my home. Bob, is this machine worth renting, or should I just pay a contractor to do the job? Oh, and Bob, my soffits are mostly wooden with very small slits for air, approximately 10 to 15 feet away. Bob, will that allow for enough air circulation to prevent causing damage to my roofing shingles? This is sent from Brandon in Hamilton, Ontario. Thank you, Brandon. That's very important. We love your questions, and we need them. Every show is based on a viewer's question. Now, we're going to start demolishing this. Now, this isn't clean work. This is very dirty work. So at the very minimum, I suggest a mask, glasses, and if you're sensitive, get some gloves out. Bob's not sensitive. No gloves needed here. Okay, we're going to get our mask on, get the glasses ready. Now, on these older homes, sort of a crown molding here. This is what holds the edge of the soffit in, the wood. Now, I really wish this is all that held it in, because you're going to find out in a few minutes that they actually tuck it in. They cantilever it back behind the brick. So we've already loosened this section. You want to get your pry bar as far as tools that you're going to need. Pry bar, a hammer, and some brute strength. Now, these aren't too bad. They use the nails, and the nail simply goes into the mortar joint, so that's an easy release. Now, the fun part's over here. Now, in this particular job, we're replacing the fascia. So you have to take the fascia out to release the soffit. So we're going to bend it forward. Start back here. Now we've got a small little joint here. So you want to try to get the pry bar in there. Trick is, keep moving the pry bar down. You want to get the one edge released. Ideally, if you can get it off in one piece, that would be beautiful. But that never seems to happen. And you don't really want to remove too much of the framing. Now, this is interesting. At one point, they had mesh screening here. So this would have been the venting. I have no idea why they closed it. But either way, it's still inadequate. You want this entire space breathing. Now that we've got this release, we'll try going the other way. Find a wooden joist there to catch the pry bar on. See, it's just flaking. Get in again. So you want to avoid splintering it, but in some cases that's not easy. want to pry as close to the nails as you can. And if all else fails, you get some brute force in there. Now this part's always challenging because, again, they cantilever over the brick. So we've got a joist here. You want the pry bar to have some support. See the nail? Now you want to fit the pry bar in. Now this one is brutal. Every house is different, and sometimes different sections of the house are installed differently. This piece of wood fascia goes back about 4 inches over top of the brick. So we're going to have to pull in some power here. This is the fine. There's many of these on the marketplace. This one specifically is made in Germany. This is an osculating tool. Very, very useful. Even on this particular home here, the wood soffit did not go back 4 or 5 inches over top of the brick. That's much too much to be able to pull out. So we're going to zip cut it all the way across the bottom. This is a lifesaver, fantastic tool. So you can see the edge of the remaining wood. The soffit literally overhangs the entire top of the brick. There's absolutely no way you're going to loosen that. Doing it manually, you probably even end up loosening the top couple of courses of brick. Now, you want to make absolutely certain, in this particular case, it looks like the soffit cavities are empty. Now, usually if there is insulation in there, you should have styrofoam baffles. On some homes, you know, there's the bats originally, then they put a blown-in insulation on top. You have to make sure you can't do all this work and then have a blockage up top. The air must travel up, go through all the joist cavities, and this is the cool air, and then you want that to pull the heat out of the attic and then exhale out and through the roof. Now you can see we've got quite a job cut out for us here. We've got hundreds of feet of this wood soffit to take out. Up next, we're going to be installing aluminum soffit to finish off these cavities.
I never had problems with alcohol, but when John lost his job and we had less money coming in, we started to fight. I started drinking just to deal with the stress. Without my realizing it, alcohol took over my life. My sister suggested I look for help. I never thought that going to Alcoholics Anonymous would help at all, but I decided to try a meeting. Finding the courage to go to that meeting was the best thing I've done. I got help from people who know what I've been through. These meetings changed my life, and they're still doing it. Now I know I can live without drinking, and more importantly, I have hope. Alcoholics Anonymous. If alcohol is causing problems in your life, look for us. You can find us in the phone book or on the web at aa.org.
Hello, Hamilton. Welcome back. For those of you just tuning in, today we're going to be installing fully ventilated aluminum soffit. Now, on this particular home, the original end against the brick wall was sort of a crown molding, so to speak. That's what the edge of the soffit was fastened to. That had to be released, and it busted up into pieces when we took it down in order to get the solid wood soffit down. So ideally, you want your new soffit to be relatively level, or as level as you can between the edge of the house, the brickwork, and the fascia that's going to be catching it on the outside edge. So we're installing a 2x2 We're screwing it into all these outlooks. And obviously, as you can see in some areas, we're shimming it also because these have raised in some areas, so it ends up sitting high. Now the soffit, fully ventilated. You want your full airflow going up and into the attic. The soffit attaches into the J-mold. The other end, as you can see here, is screwed underneath to the bottom of the fascia board. And then that's going to be hidden afterwards when we put the fascia on. So we'll install a piece for you now. Now this is installed with small 1-inch screws. That's all you need. It's very lightweight. You want to just gently butt it up against the one that was just installed. You want to be tight against the brickwork. No overlapping. Just gently butt it together. One screw every couple of feet. Okay, now we've securely fastened the J-mold onto the brick side. Now we've got the opposite end because, again, the soffit's held on in two places. Now, typically on most jobs, you're going to be changing your eaves troughs, your aluminum fascia, your soffit at the same time. It's all metal work at the same time. On this home, the trough's only a few years old, so we're keeping it. That creates some issues. As you can see over here, we've had to score and snap to break off the existing fascia, and then we've had to loosen the eaves trough and install a fascia over top of it. That's the only way to work it. It's the most economical way unless you want to take all the troughs off and lower them to the ground. So this is a little tricky here. It's going to begin with, we want to make a cut across the top. Okay. Now you want to have a very, very sharp blade. That's important. And you want to score across at least twice. Okay, once more, and follow your first line. Okay, and if you've applied enough pressure, you should be able to snap this off. You want to bend it a couple of times. There we go. Now, any nails or anything in the way of the bottom has to either be sunk in or pulled out. Nice. Now you've got to remember the way that water flows. There's going to be a drip edge up at the top. So this has to be loosened. We'll show you later. And then your new fascia goes over top, has to slide up and under the drip edge. Now we'll take a measurement. You want to be pretty flush with the front, maybe maximum a quarter recessed in. That 25.5 will do it. We've got Don with the cut.
25.5.
Thank you. Are you sure?
Yep.
Okay. Now, this clicks in, male and female. Everything clicks in together with soffit. So you want to slide in. Now, this can be a little fussy. It takes patience. Push it in. Pull it forward just a little. Okay. Same screws that we used for the J-mold. See the little divot? That's where you fasten. Now this will never show once the new fascia is put on, and then it's securely attached here. You want to make sure to measure each and every piece. Depending on the age of the home, it can change. The size can change as you work your way down the wall. This one's staying true. Again, 25.5 done.
That one.
Thank you. You always want to make sure, male to female. So you want to slot the back in carefully. Bring it in. Connect. Push. And then here's where you're going to be fastening. So you want to try to be flush. Okay. At least 2 screws. You never want your screw on this end because you won't be able to click it in well. Okay, up next, we're going to be installing aluminum fascia. We'll be right back.
When you're not paying attention behind the wheel, things can happen fast. Driving distracted, it's like you're not there. In Ontario, 1 person is injured in a distracted driving collision every 30 minutes. Since the year 2000, deaths caused by distracted driving collisions have more than doubled, and distracted driving collisions have become the leading cause of death on Ontario roads. Drivers involved in those collisions may have been checking a playlist or listening to loud music. They could have been eating or using their GPS to find directions. In every case, they were distracted from driving. Any moment your eyes are off the road or your hands are off the wheel, even for a split second, you're putting your life and the lives of others in danger. If you let your mind wander when you're behind the wheel, it's like you are not there. Avoid all distractions while driving, no matter how small or brief they may seem. Stay focused, keep your eyes on the road, and be there.
Hello, Hamilton. Welcome back. For those of you tuning in, this is our Soffit and Fascia aluminum show. And everything begins, the magic, with our trailer. We bring this to our job site. We leave it here from beginning to end. It has its own power. We plug it in. Everything we need is in here, right from a hanging ladder to a skylight for ventilation. We've got our lighting. And we want to talk about the level of detail. This entire side is carpeted. So obviously, when we're working on the soffit, we can lay it out, we can slide it on the carpet. It's not going to get any scratches. It's not going to get damaged. This is the brake, which our professional operator, Don, is going to be using in a few minutes. Very important with this facility, with this trailer, that we can do fascia, soffit. We have another machine for the eaves troughs. We can do capping of doors and windows, everything out of one shop. We're going to let Don take over now. He's going to start folding some aluminum fascia.
So we've already cut it to length. For this job, we're using 8'6". So we're going to mark it 1/2 inch for a safety edge, 1.5 inch reveal. These fascias are 5 inches tall, so for this break, you got to measure it back 1.5 inches to slice it. The exact same markings down here. And then we'll flip it over and put it in the brake. Now for this brake, you allow 1.5 inches for the slicer. Lock the handle. The slicer has tracks that it slides on. Just push it along. Then that gives me the total width. Loosen the handle. Slide it back to do what we call a safety edge. And that way there's no sharp edge, and it also stiffens that corner. Lock the handle. Bend it up. Then for this length, we just have to flip the aluminum over. Put it back, make sure that's back so that it locks. And that creates the safety edge there, so it stiffens it. Slide it into that 1.5 inch mark. Lock it. Bend it. And there's your piece of fascia. Then we'll go and install it. Alright, so now that we got the soffit all in place, we'll do fascia board. We've already loosened the trough off with the screws. Just flip it up here. Tuck it behind the trough, but in front of the old fascia board we snipped. Tuck it up in place, keeping hold of it with one hand so it doesn't fall out again. Then using the exact same brackets, you put the trough back in place. One at that end. One at this end. And then just put all the bolts back in that are missing. One more here. Last bolt. And there's your fascia board. On to the next piece.
Well, Hamilton, there you have it. Soffit fascia installations. You know, this is very important. We do our best on this show to honestly and truly teach you. All of these episodes, you can find them on our site. You can pause, fast forward, rewind. It is in your benefit to learn how to do this work on your own home. Just to give you an idea, the average Hamilton home, you could be looking at anywhere from $8,000 to even $15,000 to have soffit fascia and eaves troughs replaced. Now, today's show was soffit and fascia. That we have past shows where we've shown you how to install eaves troughs. Now, once you learn, once you've empowered yourself with this knowledge, you can probably do your own home for anywhere from $2,000 to $3,000 in materials. So there is a potential of a $10,000 savings to do the job yourself. Have your friends come over, have your family involved. You know, be careful, study, research, and yes, you can do it yourself. Now, find us on our website, the largest database on the net, www.justaskbob.com, or simply pick up the phone and call us, 289-649-0196. Now, we're also running a Facebook contest. Look us up on Facebook, friend us. It's Bob Assadourian, Just Ask Bob. We want your submissions, Hamilton. I want to know not only what the job is, but why is it not being tackled? What's preventing you from tackling it on your to-do list? The best submissions, the one best submission, will win a chance to have us show up to your home, motivate you, and help kickstart a project in your own home. Until next time, thank you, Hamilton.